in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WMBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the same part of his studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. Well, Ryan, we got a lot to talk about today. We only have an hour. The first things first, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yes, Ryan's putting on his makeup over there while I'm doing my intro.
I am.
The Pittsburgh Pirates are in the hunt. They are in the hunt for the wild card. The Phillies have dropped off. They are 65-42. The Brewers are 61-46. The Dodgers are 63-48. Those three will likely win their divisions. Then you have the Braves 57-49, the Padres 58-51, the Diamondbacks and Mets 57-50. You have the Cardinals and the Pirates at 55-52. The Pittsburgh Pirates went out on trade deadline day yesterday and got a bunch of what I like to call garbage. The local sports media has been hyping this up. It's just saying, hooray, 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 that the Pirates have not been sellers and they've been buyers. They went out and got what they needed. They got a few bats. However, when you look deeper into this, the Pirates got rid of payroll by releasing Martin Perez, their third highest player, and now they are spending less money than they were a day ago. Way to go, Nutting.
I think, listen, I think this was good. I think the things that happened over the past couple of days are a good thing. You can't say that these are a bad thing that happened. We were buyers. We did go out and we went and got a little bit of help to try to improve this team. Yes, they did cut a little bit of money off, but I got to tell you, Martin Perez probably wasn't going to be one of the top 5 starters in this rotation anyway. You might as well send him down the road. You still have 5, 6, possibly 7 guys that could be starters in your rotation. Jared Jones coming back in about a week.
Can I stop you, Ryan, real quick? I know you're on a roll.
All right.
But who's starting tonight?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know who this guy is. I know that we've acquired him over the past couple of days, but I'm getting to that. Let me
continue on. You were on a roll, and I ruined it, but I had to.
Let me finish with the good things. So they did do well. They went out. They got a bat for the outfield, which we suffered big time with hitting from the center and the right fielders. Going out and grabbing Bryan De La Cruz. Also, this other gentleman we brought in, this utility player, Kiner. What is
Wiz
it?
Khalifa.
Falefa is his name.
Isaiah Kiner Wiz Khalifa. That is his name.
And I do know, just to keep it simple for everybody, they do call him IKF. That is something. But if you go back and watch a lot of his highlights and things that he's done, he's going to be a solid fit to sit at that second base position until Gonzalez comes back. And then after that, you're going to be able to use him as you do Connor Joe. I don't think what happened yesterday was a bad thing. It wasn't great. But you know what? For what it is, that's two games out of a playoff spot, Bryan. 2 games. So, it could be a lot worse, man.
Did you ever watch the Albert Costello bit?
No.
No? Who's on first?
Yeah, I watched that.
Who's on first? Bryan. Who's on second? Bryan. Who's on third? Key Bryan. Who's in left field? Bryan. Who's in right field? Bryan.
Yeah, that's about
We got
it.
another Bryan. Bryan De La Cruz, 27-year-older. He bats about 250.
Yeah.
He has some power. He has 18 home runs this year. He can play right field. Maybe he can play left field. I don't know what other positions he can play. I don't know. I mean, he's the league minimum this year.
Yeah.
Next year, he goes through arbitration, and then the year after that, and then the year after that. So we might have him for 3 more years. Then we got Isaiah Wiz Khalifa,
who is second cousin to Ralph Kiner, the great Pittsburgh Pirate. Believe it or not, he is actually second cousin, twice removed cousin of Ralph Kiner.
Does that make Wiz Khalifa third removed?
It does not.
Okay. So he's a 29-year-old utility guy.
Yes.
Maybe he can play second. Maybe he can play third. I don't know if he can play the outfield or whatever.
He could play center field.
He's $7.5 million a year this year, which we have to take a third of that, and then he's $7.5 next year. The guy bats .292.
Yes.
Everybody talks about that. .292. That sounds great. The dude strikes out, and he doesn't take walks. He swings at everything. Back in 2014, 10 years ago, Andrew McCutchen got third in the National League, the batting average championship, right? Andrew McCutchen, 314. His on-base percentage was 410. He got third to Josh Harrison, who batted 315.
Yeah.
On-base percentage was only 347.
Correct.
Josh Harrison was one of those guys that just swung at everything, never took walks. Your batting average isn't always indicative of you being able to get on base. Also, fun fact, 10 years ago, Josh Harrison used to always wear an oversized helmet so that when he ran the bases, it looked like he was hustling because his helmet would fall off. Never liked that guy.
As far as this 293 goes, this is just what I said that we needed. Of course, it's the Pirates. You're not going to get the biggest names, so you're going to go out and you're going to get a guy who plays good defense and who hits for average. Yes, he doesn't walk a lot. Yes, he doesn't strike out a lot. At the end of the day, he hits 293. This is what the Pirates needed. They needed somebody to get the stick on the ball through the course of the game, maybe get on base, maybe try to work them around the pads. So between that guy and again, you said Bryan De La Cruz has 18 home runs, who's tied with Bryan Reynolds. That's a good thing. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, these are good things. These are steps along the way. Now, whether the Pirates screw it up down the road, which they probably will because this is what they do, I don't see yesterday as a fail. I think that was a pretty good trade deadline for the Pirates.
So you said the Pirates will screw it up down the road. So at 8:10, is that what time they play tonight?
Yes.
8:10, Jake Warfoot.
Yes.
Will be starting for the Pirates. Like, who is this guy? Why is he starting? And I believe he's a relief pitcher. So he's going to pitch an inning, maybe 2. Who's pitching after that?
That's what I took out of it. I see that Woodford, I believe is his name, Woodford, he is going to get the start. He'll probably get that inning, and then you're either going to see Luis Ortiz or Marco Gonzalez. That's what I think. It has to be.
Ortiz is a starter now. I don't think it's going to be Ortiz.
But they still have him listed in the bullpen when you do look at the depth chart. So it's tough.
Is Kenny Pickett still the number 1 quarterback on Tomlin's depth chart? We don't want to hurt his feelings.
Right. But, we will see. Of course, we know Jared Jones will be back here within about a week.
Really? That quick?
Yes, he was pitching from the mound yesterday. A couple days ago, he was on flat ground. Yesterday, he was on the mound. I suspect.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Now, throwing from a mound. I've thrown from the mound. I've thrown from the field. Why is that a difference?
It's just the trajectory. It's a whole different angle, of course. But he's gonna get his.
Well, I get the rehab part,
right?
But why do you have to start? Why can't you start on the mound? Like, why? I don't understand.
That's the process.
That's just dumb process. That's like baseball has become so dumbed down with this stupid. Everybody gets Tommy John. Everybody can't pitch over 80 pitches. I'm so sick and tired of this garbage. Like, quit babying these guys. That's the reason they're always hurt. The superior athletes, like, they have all the nutrition training. They have the best athletic trainers, and they're always freaking hurt. He's 22 years old. Suck it up. Get out there and pitch. I guarantee Gary Riddle would have had his son out there pitching after any injury whenever I was playing, and he would have done just fine. His arm wouldn't have been hurt.
I agree with you. Unfortunately, in a day of big money, you got to protect your investments, and that's
they're paying $750,000 to these guys.
Still, that's not.
That's the Pirates.
I mean, how compared to what I'm making, $750. So I mean, they are protecting their investments, and again,
so they're making half of what you make.
Yeah, they are. They're making half of what I make.
Yes.
But they on one hand I get it, but on the other hand I do agree with you. I think that come on, these guys are top class athletes. They're strong. They're big. Let them go out there and do their thing. But at the end of the day, you got to protect them almighty.
How many games in a row did Who's He What's It play?
What's that?
How many games in a row did Who's it play?
Who's it?
Who's the all-time, was it Cal Ripken?
The Iron Man. Yeah, the straight starts.
These guys can't play like 2 series in a row.
No.
It's like TJ Watt. He can't play 2 series in a row without having to go sit on the
But you got to
sidelines.
think, too, that Cal Ripken is a freak because nobody else has any numbers anywhere near that. So, I mean.
I don't know if he's a freak or if everybody else is just a big bunch of wussies.
Well, that, too.
All right. I don't hate to be negative Nancy. All right. So the Pirates have won 3 in a row.
No, you don't.
I love being a negative Nancy. But the Pirates have won 3 in a row. And here's my thing. I see like 9,000 holes in the Pirates,
yes.
Ryan, right? They are not a good baseball team. Somehow they find these ways to win and win and win. Are these other teams that bad? I mean, the Diamondbacks tried to give us a couple wins, and we tried to give it back, and Houston did the same thing. It's like they gave us the chances, then we give it back to them, and then they don't take advantage of it.
Bryan, I mean, you look around the league, we're not far from par. We're basically right in there with a big group of teams from the National League, and then you expand over to the American League. I mean, we're not far from the average team. We're not a really bad team. We have good pitching that keeps us in all these baseball games, and obviously hitting is the thing that we need to improve on, and we will see starting with the series tomorrow at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks if any of these new guys will pay off at the plate.
Wait, what's happening tomorrow?
I believe that the new players will all be there tomorrow in Pittsburgh to start off the Arizona series.
Yeah, we play Friday.
Yes. Or wait, I'm thinking today's Thursday.
Right. Okay. So yeah, this is one man's opinion, not thinking logically. With the who's coming in tomorrow for thinking logically, by the way?
The Shaman.
The Shaman
from the big January 6th. The guy.
I'll be tuning in
with the Viking horns.
There we go. All right, let me ask you a question. We've been playing the Houston Rockets here for the past 2 days, and we all know that they cheat. Why does Altuve? He's 4'11". He bats leadoff. I have not seen him not get on base.
He's a beast.
Does he know what? Like, is he still hooked up and knows what pitch is coming?
You know what? It was funny because I was watching the other game tonight. And you and I were texting briefly, and you said that you said, "What is Altuve 7 for 7 tonight?"
Yes, it seems like it.
Hey, he's that kind of guy, man.
Oh man, the Houston Oilers. They are tough. They are tough.
But if you look at all these lineups, Bryan, it's all very similar to ours. You have, your what you like in your lineup is your first 1 through 5, and beyond that, it starts to taper, and we're no different than most of the league around us.
Well, the one thing I did notice is batting averages are down all over across baseball. That's fine, but people batting under 230 and starting. I want to say like the Diamondbacks and the Mets have like nobody. The Cardinals have like one guy, but the Pirates have 4 out of 9 guys batting under 230 that start.
Yeah, no. There's no answer for that. That is what it is, and hopefully once we get Nicky G back, that'll help out a little bit. And then you had, like I said, you had these other bats. We're going to see, but you're not going to see much of a change. You're going to find a team that's working and finding ways to try to win baseball games, to not screw things up for good pitching, and that's been what it is for the Pirates all season. And I can't imagine it would change from here till October.
Now, when did the Pirates get Barry Lamar Bonds back?
I think you're talking about Michael A. Taylor.
Well, I didn't know Barry Bonds was a right-handed hitter, but
Yeah.
he has been jacking the ball out of the park the last 2 games. Will it continue today?
No, don't get excited. I have a theory. I think that some of these guys, as you mentioned, Taylor with the 2 home runs and Grandal the other night, he hit a home run. I think it's a case of, they know that the coaches are watching. They know that the GMs are watching. We're bringing in hitters because you can't hit. So I do suspect that you are going to see a little bit of an increase from those guys. But at the end of the day, they are what they are, and I don't see Michael A. Taylor continuing on his tear.
So after Thanksgiving, I noticed that parents, in my family and whatnot around the world, they start telling their kids, like, Santa's watching.
Yeah.
Make sure you're good.
This is what it is.
Is that what's going on with Michael A. Taylor and
Yes.
Grandal? Like, Santa's watching. You better play well or you're going to be off the team or DFA'd?
I mean, look back at what they did for the first 4 months. They weren't good. They weren't consistent. They didn't hit a lot of home runs. All of a sudden, you're talking about bringing in better hitters, and these 2 gentlemen hit 3 home runs in 2 games. I mean, I think the writing's on the wall.
Do they win tonight?
No.
Do they make it close?
I think so. I think that winning tonight's going to be tough to go down and sweep Houston, and we do not have one of our starters, as you mentioned. The guy's name is Woodford, who's going to be on the hill. So I'm very I think they'll lose tonight.
All right. Well, we're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more sports. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Has your classic car or hot rod seen better days? Just call me, Dave Rodenbaugh, and my team at the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company. The full-service hot rod shop offers it all. Everything from custom fabrication and restoration to regular maintenance and collision repair. With over 40 years of experience, there isn't a job too big or too small. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company's enclosed trailer service ensures safe transit for your ride during any season. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company is located at 6th Street in Beaver Falls. Visit pahotrod.com or call 412-719-4950.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, brought to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team, 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. So here's what's weird. It is July 31st, and the Steelers are in training camp, and we're talking about the Pirates. Isn't that
crazy?
Interesting?
It is. And that's all I usually just ask for that, Brian. I said, keep it, and stay in it long enough for us to get to Steelers season. And you know what? They've done that this year.
Yes, they have. It's been about, well, they were pretty decent in 2018, and then we have to go all the way back to 2013, 13, 14, and 15, whenever they actually were, I guess, contenders. Were they contenders for the World Series back then? Did they have enough?
Yeah, absolutely. The 13, 14, 15?
I think they did.
They had a really nice team. They had the pitchers. They had A.J. Burnett, Francisco Liriano, Garrett Cole, and in the field you had Russell Martin behind the plate.
When did they get Sean Rodriguez? Because I think that was the downfall of the team.
He was on that team. He was the utility player on that team.
Oh, boy. And then we got rid of him. I think he went to the Phillies for like two seasons or a season and a half, and then he came back and like fought the Gatorade water bottle container.
One thing I do want to say, Brian, about some of these moves that were made yesterday, Tommy Pham, a couple names that we had interest in early. Tommy Pham, he went to St. Louis, and he hit a grand slam last night in his first game in St. Louis. And also the other gentleman, Jazz Chisholm, he hit either 3 or 4 home runs so far since he's been with the Yankees. He's only been up there 2 days. He hit 2 home runs last night. He had 1 the night before. So, I hope that we don't get the dud. I hope our power hitter comes through and does some things for us.
So Bryan, Bryan De La Cruz, has 18 home runs so far this season. And my friends were all like, oh, he has 18 home runs. He has 18 home runs. I'm like, he hasn't hit one yet for us.
Yeah.
will it fall off or will it continue? You know, like, will our batting coach get a hold of him and ruin him or what?
You hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that, it seems like it's for these other teams, it's new, a new environment. It's a new place. It's new energy. You're now on a team who is competing. You're at a team that's trying to make a playoff run. So maybe, just maybe, those kind of things will psychologically, help these hitters hit.
We did say we got rid of Martin Perez, but we also got rid of Quinn Priester.
Yes.
And I'm happy because I just didn't see it. His fastball was like 92, 93. Yeah. It didn't have a lot of movement. He just wasn't, a top-end guy. Like, what are you hoping him to be, like your fifth guy?
You're talking about Priester?
Quinn Priester,
okay,
yes. Yeah, and here's my thing. And it's funny because when Quinn Priester left the Pirates, he said, I guess it was said that he didn't want to listen to the pitching coaches. They would tell him to do something, and he would do the complete opposite. Now, Paul Skeens, if you're listening, take Quinn Priester's advice. Whatever they're telling you to do, just keep doing what you've been doing, and don't listen to the Pirates pitching coach.
Just nod your head and keep doing it.
Be like, yeah, sure, I'll do that, and then do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, over the past couple of weeks, we've talked about this surplus of starting pitching that the Pirates potentially have, and we've lost two of those over the past few days, in Perez and in Quinn Priester. However, you did have Bailey Falter came back into the rotation. He pitched a great game last night. You do have Jared Jones here with the next week working his way back into the rotation. So I don't think that we took a huge hit. The only way that I think we'll take a huge hit is if we continue to have injury issues with our rotation, one, maybe two guys dealing with injuries, then it becomes a problem. But again, I still don't think we lost at the trade deadline.
Well, we do have a couple off days coming up.
Yes.
So we're trying to get some pitching back and trying to get that rotation set for the final run of the season. Tonight at 8:10, we play the Astros again. The what did I say? The Houston Texans. Is that what I wanted to call them? I've called them the Rockets and the Oilers, so now I might as well call them the Houston Texans. We play them tonight. I don't know who's pitching, what's going on. Hopefully the bats come alive. Then we have a day off. Then we host the Arizona Diamondbacks for 3, which is a huge series. They took 2 out of 3 on us at home. We've got to at least return the favor and take 2 out of 3. So that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then we have Monday off.
Yeah.
So that should give our pitching staff all the time they need to revamp, get ready, and have our 5 to go for the rest of the season. And then we have the Padres at home.
Big series.
Also another big series. And then we play at the Dodgers, one of the best teams in the National League, with that $6,342,000 payroll they have. And then we are at the Padres again.
Yeah.
So we need to take Thursday and Monday and rest, get the arms ready, because after that, it's the Padres, Dodgers, Padres.
Yeah, and don't discount this series right off the top. This is Arizona one going into the weekend. This team is playing tough. They're playing really good baseball. As I said yesterday, they did pick up Josh Bell, who's the former Pirates first baseman who was in Miami. He got picked up at the deadline by Arizona. Now Arizona wins 17. They scored 17 runs last night. And the night before, they scored 9 runs. So this Arizona team, they're playing good baseball. They're working to try to get that playoff spot. We have to be able to match that as the home team on this weekend.
Why have the Padres and the Diamondbacks played 3 more games than everybody else?
That's a good question.
I look at their records, and it's just like, okay, how many games back are we? And I look at it, and I'm like, I can't even figure it out because they have 2 more wins than us and 4 more losses than us. And I'm like, or 4 less losses than us.
Right. Another thing, the team that we are playing right now is the Houston Astros. If we were in that division, we would be
I thought it was the Rockets.
Or the Rockets.
Oilers.
Space City. We would be almost in first place. So again, at the end of the day, Brian, this isn't a bad baseball team. Yes, do they have a lot of problems? Yes, they do. But at the end of the day, nobody's perfect in this league. We're in the group of teams that are like us. And I don't think that we're a bad baseball team.
All right. Speaking of bad baseball, I'll make this quick transition. The Dylan Cruz watch has been on. Paul Skeens probably going to win the Cy Young, or at least be in the conversation.
Absolutely.
Probably going to win the Rookie of the Year. Probably going to, he started the All-Star game?
Yes.
Would he start game 1 if we played in a post game, or would he start game 2? Would you put out Keller?
I would go with Keller in game 1.
Yeah, and then
I would go Keller Skeens because in the playoffs you're going with the smaller rotation, so you would think Keller, Skeens, and Jones.
Well, we'll see how Jones comes back. I mean, you have other options there,
Right.
All right, so the Dylan Cruz watch is on. I myself, last season, during the draft, there was about 5 guys you could take number 1 overall. And I kept saying they need to get the everyday player, Dylan Cruz. Don't get this pitcher guy, get the I think they're both great. I'd be happy with either, but I kept saying get Dylan Cruz. This guy has 4 home runs at Rochester, AAA, and is batting 260. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great player, but obviously I was way wrong. Paul Skeens is a generational talent. He might be the greatest pitcher of all time if this continues.
Absolutely. I've said from day one, and I stand firmly with this. If you're a baseball or a football fan, Brian, I say the top 2 things: you got to have your franchise quarterback, or you got to have good pitching in each of the respective sports. And this guy, I think we hole in one, hook, line, and sinker. Any way you want to say it, that was the right pick by taking Paul Skeens. And I don't think that there's anything that could change your mind at this point.
So who's one of my favorite people on TV that interviews the players?
Hannah Mears.
Yes. When she asked Paul Skeens, when Major League Baseball makes adjustments to how you pitch, what was his response?
I don't know.
Good luck. He said good luck.
I like
and
that.
I was like, I like this guy. He knows he's this good.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's going to come at you with whatever he's got, and he's going to beat you, 9 out of 10 times.
And everything that he does it's being done for the first time in 900 years or whatever the case may be. I mean, the pyramids. This dude, as you said, he is generational. This dude may be, at the end of the day, one of the best pitchers that ever play the game. So happy that we took him. And, as I said, if you want to be a competitive team, Brian, what would this team look like if you would have drafted Dylan Cruz?
We would have sold at the trade deadline.
Absolutely.
And everybody in town, including me, would have been like, of course, the Pirates picked the wrong guy. They took this guy. And he might be good in 2, 3, 4 years, but there's this guy out there starting the All-Star game with a ERA of what is round 2. Just
under
lights
2
out.
being talked about, possibly being the Cy Young Award. I mean, and the other guy you said is hitting in AAA, AA?
Yeah, he's up to AAA. He's the Washington Nationals AAA affiliate, the Rochesterians. I don't know what they are.
We have one of them. We have Henry Davis, who's doing the same exact thing. He's hitting home runs in minor league right now. So
who?
Somebody check on that guy. Make sure he's all right.
You know who else? We haven't talked about all season? Endy Rodriguez.
Yes, Endy.
I mean, we have some guys. We have some young guys that can fill out a roster. Let's just say Endy Rodriguez is your everyday catcher.
Yes.
And you bring up Henry Davis as a DH to start next season, and he catches 1 or 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And then work him in. That fills out a lot of our holes for next season, does it not?
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you like Bart. I like Bart. Keep Bart around. I mean, they got to beat out Bart. I mean, maybe he's the backup. Maybe he's the starter next year. I don't know.
Well, Endy Rodriguez, you got to remember, he's a switch hitter. He brings a lot to the table, and that's what a lot of people were forgetting when you're sitting there scratching, you're pulling your hair out saying, oh, this Grandel or Bart. You got to remember, we got a really, really good catcher coming back.
Yeah,
next year.
He reminds me of like an 8th grader with those braces. It's like, oh, look at this little fella. He's going to grow up to be something,
Right.
That's Endy Rodriguez. He looks like an 8th grader. Am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right, and I can't wait to see him in a lineup. And as you said, hopefully Henry Davis gets it together at some point, and we're able to plug holes with him. But, I mean, come on, Brian. Again, around the league, taking a look around, looking at averages on other teams, as you mentioned earlier in the show, this team is not that far off. Do I think they're going to win championships? No, they're not going to win championships because I think it's the way that the team is ran is where the problem is. I think the group of guys, it's a pretty decent group of guys.
Yeah, we're probably a couple guys away from contending over the next 3 years. Would you not say? I mean, I think the pitching staff, you keep the bulk of it intact and maybe add a piece here or there to over the next few years. But I mean, there's a fielder here, a fielder there, away from being a contender, right?
Yes. I tell you what, they really are. They're a fielder or two away. And as you said, let's check out, see what these guys that came over yesterday can do. And then, we can kind of assess it from there.
Well, yeah, doing it all under the budget of $90 million. I have no idea how they're doing it, but we are going to switch away from baseball when we come back. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Back to school season means back to your credit union season. Before you pack the lunchbox, be sure and pack your wallet. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union and get the cash supply you'll need so that you can buy the school supplies that they will need. This is Cindy Hiladio. Stop into the principal's office and see me to sign up for an easy-to-manage personal signature loan. They're now available from $500 to $10,000 with approved credit. Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjspratfh.com.
Has your classic car or hot rod seen better days? Just call me, Dave Rodenbaugh, and my team at the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company. The full-service hot rod shop offers it all. Everything from custom fabrication and restoration to regular maintenance and collision repair. With over 40 years of experience, there isn't a job too big or too small. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company's enclosed trailer service ensures safe transit for your ride during any season. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company is located at 6th Street in Beaver Falls. Visit pahotrod.com or call 412-719-4950.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the same part of his studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio, Facebook Live, and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. We've been talking Pirates. It's fun to talk about the Pirates. We might even talk about the Pirates in August. We shall see how they do. I want to switch things over to the Pittsburgh Steelers, if I could. But before we get into that, I do have one minor announcement, because I know if I don't say it now, I won't get into it. Evgeny Malkin, my favorite ice hockey player of all time, is going to be calling it quits in the NHL after this next season. Yes.
Now, that's just in the NHL, correct?
Yes, he's going to play for Russia.
Okay.
Yes, he's definitely going to go back to Russia and probably make like 10 million times more than he makes here. And here's my question. Evgeny, if you're listening, because I know you probably do, because I am your biggest fan, will your wife still live in Florida while you're in Russia playing? She's a hot little mama.
Is she?
She's one good-looking young lady.
I just once I want to see one of these pro athletes walking around like an average-looking wife. You never see that. You know, they always, that must be a...
back, when did we do it? We did the good-looking wives that were famous. I'm going to try to find a list of like 10 average-looking women that are married to or dating. I mean, other than Taylor Swift, that are just average looking that date famous people.
I've never seen one. Everybody that dates a famous person is usually pretty attractive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, check it out.
I will. All right, let's move on to the Steelers. The biggest news is Roman Wilson. He was drafted in the 3rd round, and he was likely going to be at least the slot receiver, if not having a battle to be the number 2 receiver for the Steelers. He left the field the other day with a ankle injury. They believe it was a broken ankle. They were hoping it wasn't like one of those high ankle breaks, and it turns out that it was just a sprained ankle.
Hey.
So that is good news. Take a week off, let it heal, and maybe hang out with Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson has not been playing either. What's going on there?
I don't know, but I do know that Justin Fields is looking really good, and I know that Russell Wilson is kind of nursing that calf back to health. That's my concern right there, is just bringing this older quarterback in. Of course, you like the veteran leadership, you like all the things. He's been there, done that. He's won Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, is this guy going to be able to hold up through 17 games, through 4 quarters a game? It's going to be tough for, what is he, 36 years old?
What was he? I think he's 37, or 36. Could be either one. Why was he on a sled? What was that all about?
I don't know, but I don't like it.
What, was he on like Santa's sled, or what was going on?
I got to tell you, I've never ever heard of a quarterback pushing a sled in any level of football, but apparently that's what happened.
All right, so today there was a big fight.
Yes.
At training camp. Landon Roberts, our middle linebacker, hits Justin Field on a read option. Apparently the offense thinks it was late. I'm assuming the defense thinks it was a fair play. Regardless, Mason McCormick, our 3rd round or 4th round guard, this rookie, big guy, he's probably going to take over right guard next year, decided to go after Orlando Roberts, and a fight ensued. I heard Joey Porter Jr. swung a bunch of times and didn't make contact.
I'm glad. That's all we need, is him breaking his hand.
Yeah, like what are you doing swinging? What are you going to hit somebody in the helmet? Although they do have those like Cocoa Puff helmets.
Well, they do have the Cocoa Puff, but I don't know if you remember quite a few years back that John Baldwin from Aliquippa, who played at Pitt, he broke his hand on somebody's helmet in preseason, and that was pretty much the last you heard of him. So, I mean, you don't want your guys breaking, especially on their teammates' helmets in preseason.
Yeah, I'm out 6 weeks. Why? Well, I broke my hand punching my teammate.
Right. And don't get me wrong, I like the fire. I like to see that in this team. You don't want to see them looking like they don't have heart going into camp. You want to see that continue, but a lot of times you have that. You have a lot of fights and a lot of pushing and shoving when in preseason is and the camp is, and I think that's all this was, Brian.
Yeah. All right, so here's who I'm looking to see throughout camp. There are, let me count this up: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 players I'm looking to see how they do in camp.
All right.
Broderick Jones, the number 1 pick last year. Joey Porter Jr., first pick in the 2nd round last year. Keanu Benton, the rookie last year. Darnell Washington, the 2-time pass thrown to champion of the world last year. Nick Herbig, the outside linebacker, and Corey Trice Jr. All 6 of those guys I'm really, really needing and wanting to step up this year, even though we brought in a few veterans. But I also am looking forward to all of the rookies. Troy Fautanu, Zach Frazier, Roman Wilson, Peyton Wilson, and Mason McCormick are all guys I'm keeping an eye on. Ryan, are you watching the young guys? Are you watching the quarterback battle, the running back battle? What are you looking for?
Of course, I mean, you're looking at a lot of things. I think that you're going to see big Mount Washington on offense. I'm just trying to go by memory. You had mentioned I think you're going to see him more involved in the offense, as well as Pat Freiermuth. I think that the Arthur Smith offense certainly opens things up for a lot of guys, especially tight ends and players like this. Let's see who else. You mentioned, I'm going to jump over to the defensive side. Corey Trice Jr., Joey Porter Jr. You're going to want to see. I think that those guys are going to do well because they're kind of growing together. Providing that Corey Trice Jr. could stay healthy.
Right.
That's a big if.
Isn't he like 6'3"? He can run with like the lights out, and he's just. Otherwise, he probably would have been a first-round pick, I'm assuming, if he would stay healthy, but he just is always hurt.
That's what they say. Also, Benton. I think you have to get improvement out of it. You have to get big play out of him because that defensive line is aging. And I don't think if he doesn't improve, we're going to have some problems on that front line. But if he could break out this year and play really well, I think we might be okay. Herbig, he's going to be a joy to watch, as well as Peyton Wilson. These are two kind of the same kind of players on defense. And then into some of these rookies that you mentioned, your linemen. This is going to be a trial by error. These guys are going to get thrown in there. And this is going to be your offensive line more than likely for the next 5 to 8 years. So you just got to kind of keep your fingers crossed and hope they could all gel together and play good offensive line.
What now? Roman Wilson we were all hoping could step up to be the number 2 guy. He's already hurt. We know he's out for a couple weeks. That's probably going to push his development back. We know Tomlin doesn't like to start rookies. What do you think we're going to be doing with the wide receiver position?
You know what? I still go to bed every day hoping that I wake up and see the day you sign somebody, which isn't out of the question. A lot of people are now starting to make the face that you're making, but it's not out of the question. We can still get one of these targets.
I think Chad Johnson still is open. And so this is what he told his offensive coordinator.
Yes. But what was the second part of that?
There was no second part. Okay, so Roman Wilson was supposed to step up and at least be the slot guy.
Yeah.
And maybe develop into our number 2 guy. You hope Freiermuth and his development takes up a lot of catches so that we do have a second option. But when you look out, when Russell Wilson's calling the plays and he's calling the audibles, he's at the line and he's looking out and he sees the double team over on the right side here of Pickens.
Yeah.
And then he sees one-on-one coverage with Joe Blow.
Yeah.
Is that guy going to step up?
He has no choice. I think the guy that needs to step up more than anybody is Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin III is
Isn't he like as tall as Altuve?
He is, but listen, Altuve. But
Poor Altuve.
But you look at these guys that made the New England Patriots extremely successful over the years. Undersized Wes Welker. Undersized not only Wes Welker, but Amendola.
Deflated balls.
Edelman. I mean, all these guys, they were all undersized. They were all fast. If we could find ways to utilize Calvin Austin III instead of having him run long routes every play, you got to be able to use these guys. Hit them on some of these inside hitch passes. Use them, the way that Tom Brady was able to use these
Let me ask you a
fast
question.
Receivers.
So Wes Welker and Edelman, right? Over the middle, they could catch 120 balls a year. Great.
While playing with Brady, because once Wes Welker went to Miami, it wasn't the same thing. Once some of these other players go elsewhere, it's not the same thing.
Let me ask you a question, and this kind of falls on the Altuve subject.
Yeah.
How tall is Tom Brady?
I would guess 6'2"-ish.
6'6".
Oh, wow.
6'6". He could see the guys over the middle. How tall is Russell Wilson? He's like 5'5", like Altuve.
Yeah.
Like he can't see the guys over the middle.
Right.
I don't see everybody's talking about how great Freiermuth's going to do. I don't think he's going to see him, even though Freiermuth's 6'6" himself.
You got to remember, though, this guy did win a Super Bowl. This guy has a pedigree. This guy has done good things. We could say, he's old and he's short, but at the end of the day, he did a lot of good things as well. I'd like to see those things bleed over.
Who was the Patriot that intercepted the ball in the end zone on the one Super Bowl on Wilson?
Was it McCourtney or?
Because Russell Wilson didn't see him. Just didn't see him. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He thought that his whatever the little slant was wide open, and he did not see that guy because he's too short to play quarterback in the NFL.
Well, he's probably confused why Pete Carroll didn't run Marshawn Lynch because he ran him 94 yards. But
dude, when Pete Carroll sends in the play, Harry just not like, all right, forget that.
Yeah.
We're just going to hand off to you, Marshawn. And Marshawn's going to be like, all right, I'm going to score.
That's what I wondered.
It reminds me, though, when Ben handed off to the bus, the Indianapolis game, to seal the game, and there was the fumble. Also, earlier in that game, there was the Troy Polamalu makes this great interception, rolls on the ground, takes 5 steps, kicks the ball off his thigh, and then they said he never had control.
Oh, yeah.
I think that game was rigged. And we still won.
It was a bizarre game because that was a
Vanderjag missed it. He missed it.
That was a big, that Indianapolis Colts team was very good. And I don't know if you remember earlier in the season, we lost to them on, it was a night game. I think we lost 26-7, but we weren't even supposed to be on the same field as that Colts team that year.
Cower Power. Was that Cower?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we won. The Steelers what were they? 8-8.
And they needed to win the last 4.
Not 8-8. They were whatever. What was the record?
They needed to win the last 4, and they did.
Yeah, they won 2 against, I want to say, the Vikings and maybe the Bears, and then 2 divisional games. We won the last 4, and then we went and beat the Bengals on the road, the Colts on the road, Denver on the road, who was the 3, the 1, and the 2 seed, and we went without, what was the safety's name? Clark?
Yeah.
In Denver. We whacked Denver, and then we played a home game in Detroit against Seattle. Yes, that was Cowher.
And you got to remember, too, that Seattle team was the number 1 seed in the NFC. So we
faced
the
1, 2, and 3
was beat by this number 6 seed team that wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs.
All right, we're going to get into a little bit more sports here when we come back. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Looking for a great job opportunity? Looking for a quick and easy lunch or dinner idea? Stop by your local McDonald's now and pick up a $5 meal menu. You'll get a McDouble or a McChicken, 4-piece nuggets, small fries, and small drink, all for only $5. You'll love it, and your family will too. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
It's summer, and that means it's time to get going and enjoy the warm weather. If you're inclined to enjoy the outdoors and have a good time, your truck is your lifeline to towing recreational vehicles, campers, boats, and carrying jet skis, fishing gear, and suitcases. The folks at Moon Township Ford know that for families that like to travel and vacation, the Ford F-150 truck is the vehicle for you. Get a 2024 Ford F-150 XL with 0% APR financing for 36 months. No matter where your summer vacation takes you, you can be sure that a Ford F-150 from Moon Township Ford will make your adventure much more fun. No wonder that it's the most popular vehicle sold in the U.S. Ford's F-150 is the quintessential American truck to celebrate all of the summer holidays. Get going now to Moon Township Ford's showroom on University Boulevard across from Robert Morris.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Please give us a call. Let us know what you think about the Pirates, the Steelers, whatever else is on your mind, the Olympics. I don't care. Give us a call. We got about 10 minutes left or so give us a buzz and let us know what you think about those topics. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Ryan, let me ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
We got the Olympics going on. Did you watch any Olympics?
I haven't watched one second.
There's this one meme, and it's like the Olympics and this dude like staring in a different direction, and then it says like Olympics and me. That's kind of me. I really have zero interest. Everybody's been posting stuff about this Bowles chick. Like, she's been in the Olympics for like the past 4 Olympics.
Okay.
I'm sure she's great. I've seen her. She can flip and do all the things that God knows we couldn't do.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of sick of it. Today, I was having lunch and around 3 o'clock, and the NBA, well, not the NBA, the men's basketball team was playing South Sudan. And there's all a bunch of the old heads, Steph Curry, LeBron James. Like, I don't want to see these guys.
Yeah.
I'd rather see the college guys that I don't know.
You know, that's very interesting that you say that, Bryan. And if you could just kind of hang in there for 1 minute so I could pull this up. I did grab something that I seen that I thought was really interesting yesterday, and I'm going to cross-gender to do this. However, there's the debate about
the boxer cross-gender. Isn't there like 2 male boxers boxing? Like, here's the one thing. So if you want to say a transgender dude is going to swim against chicks, okay? that's one thing. But when a boxer's going to punch somebody in the face, that's quite another, you know?
Well,
okay. I know that isn't what you were going to do, but I was trying to give you a couple minutes.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good. Okay, so the women's team, the women's USA basketball team, the last 55 Olympic games that they've played, 55-0. 55-0. The one that they played against Caitlin Clark, they lost.
Okay,
Should Bryan?
I knew you were going to bring this up because
I need one man's opinion. Should that woman be on that basketball team?
No.
And why not? Don't you want to see the young players like you just said in the NBA? Don't you want to see the up and coming players? Don't you want to see? Okay, before you use any words that consist of the word turn and over, answer the question. Go ahead.
All right. So the floor is mine.
Yes, the floor is yours.
Caitlin Clark should not be on the team. She should be the captain of the team.
Oh, I agree.
110%.
Yeah.
Why is she not the captain of the team? Okay, first off, Caitlin Clark was not the reason why they beat Team USA. Of course,
they're not.
She had 4 points.
You're right.
She was 0 for 7 from 3. She played no defense, and I didn't even watch it.
That was never even stated. The only thing was stated was this team was 55-0 in their last 55.
I know, but I want to point out that she was 0 for 7 from 3.
Okay.
And she had 4 points. Okay. Caitlin Clark was not the reason they won that game.
No, you're right.
The reason they won that game was because those girls are better. They named a bunch of old heads, and like you're saying, these girls, Taurasi, she's older than me.
Come on, this lady.
I mean,
needs to
I
hang
could
it
barely
up.
make it through this 1 hour show. I've been under the weather. I'm hopped up on NyQuil right now, or DayQuil, or whatever it is. So if you can't tell, but I couldn't make it through a full basketball game. How is Taurasi outperforming a 22-year-old? It's not even a chance.
And, okay, so this is a very good something that you said earlier today about Evgeny Malkin. She needs to Deanna Taurasi needs to step aside and let these younger people play. Let these younger people get their chance at the Olympics, because she can continue to play forever, as does Malkin, as does Yager, and a lot of these other athletes.
Should she go to the Czech or Russia and play?
But at the end of the day, you have to let these women with these big names that are coming and changing your sport, you have to let them involved. You can't not have Caitlin Clark not involved. You can't.
All right. So speaking of which, and I didn't want to bring this up today because I harp on it all the time. I did watch the first half of the men's basketball game. This is about all the Olympics I've watched. I watched them play Serbia, and I watched the first half of them versus South Sudan. And really, I've seen a couple swimming things here and there, and maybe some gymnastics things, but I haven't really watched. But LeBron James starts at point guard for the men's basketball team. Out of all the players in the United States that play basketball, you're telling me this 40-year-old who bricked every shot, turned the ball over multiple. He looks like he's 80 years old. That's how slow. He looks like Joe Biden out there trying to play basketball. It's sad and it's pathetic, and I don't understand why that's what I guess the USA team thinks that we want to watch. I don't want to watch that. Give me the 18-year-old kid in college at Connecticut.
I agree with you and I disagree with you, because on one hand, I think you answered the question on your own earlier by saying they played Serbia and they played South Sudan. I mean, come on, these teams, LeBron James is going to make them look bad if he's 100 years old. But I agree with you 100%, Bryan. I do think that, again, just like the WNBA, you got to have these young people in there. Why has it always been that way? But now all of a sudden, these players.
It's entitled.
The two names that I could right off the top that we just named, LeBron James and Deanna Taurasi. When's it going to be time for them to step aside? In other words,
get out of the way. And here's the thing. So against Serbia, Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics didn't get in.
Okay.
He's they just won the championship.
Yeah,
he's one of the best players. He was all NBA first team. So he's one of the best 5 players that don't even do positions anymore. So he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. And somehow he didn't get a minute last game. So Steve Kerr, the TURD that he is, he decided to start him because he probably didn't want to hurt his feelings. It's it's not even about putting your best team out.
Right.
The 1980 USA hockey team. It's about these people were upset on Twitter, so I've got to appease them.
Right.
It's nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. I mean, Serbia, they had Jokic. When Jokic was on the court, it was 83-83. When Jokic was off the court, Serbia scored 3 points. South Sudan, I believe they got down early by about 20 or so, and the United States won something in the teens. So
I'm still wrapping my head around that there's a Southern Sudan basketball team. I never in my life have thought of that in my life.
Yeah, well, there is. Like I said, they just called up a few dudes and were like, let's go play, and then they're right there with the American NBA guys.
So what happens when they start playing? I mean, there are going to be better teams, correct? I mean, they're not going to all be Serbias and South Sudans.
I think they play Puerto Rico next, which is going to be a bad team because Serbia blew them out.
I mean, because every great basketball players came from Puerto Rico.
So I don't understand where they get these teams. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear anything.
Okay.
So I lost it all. Anyway, I'll continue on.
You're good on this end, so as long as...
Well, I don't need anything here then. All right, so here's what I don't understand. We play Serbia, Puerto Rico, South Sudan. How did that group get discovered?
Right.
Who came up with that group?
Yeah. You'd think we would be in Canada, Mexico, something like this.
Right. You'd think it'd be regionalized.
Yeah. Serbia. Come on.
Yeah. Canada, Mexico, Puerto Rico makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's close. So, all right, I'm back on. I don't know what happened there. Yes, I can hear myself, unfortunately.
You know what? It may be your ears draining from all that Dayquil that you're...
Oh, my goodness. It's been who gets sick in January? That's what I want to know, people. Who gets sick in January? I did. All right, so the Olympics are going on. They're going to be going on for another, I don't know. How long is the Olympics? It's 2 weeks, isn't it?
It's a couple weeks, Bryan. But let me ask you this. Now, you said that you're not really watching too much of the Olympics. You're catching...
I kind of, I'll watch the basketball games.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's if it's on and I kind of catch it, I'm not tuning into it.
I like the winter games better, I think, with the curling and things like this. I'm just not into these summer games.
Like the downhill skiing, watching the dude wipe out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, track and field's coming up. It's about swimming, track and field, gymnastics. I mean, that's pretty much the bulk of it, right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think the United States is winning all the golds. I think China is. I don't know what the numbers are, but
oh wow,
it is what it is. Oh, I do have a question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about the WNBA here. And I don't even know how or why. Obviously, it's Caitlin Clark. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be talking about it. Do they just go on break for 2 months in the middle of the season?
Yeah, it's a few-week break. They started off by having the All-Star break, and then while everybody else goes and continues their break, the Olympic team goes and plays. But they will be back after.
I don't think they start back until August 16th.
Yeah, I think it's August.
Why do they have a month break?
Well, that's a good question.
I mean, is it normally like that, or is it because of the Olympics?
Well, I got to be honest. I mean, really, this is the first time I've paid attention to the WNBA in my whole adult life.
Me, and everybody else.
So that's a good question.
Other than the people that play in its family.
Right.
Yeah. So August 16th, it's got to be a month break. It's not like they play 162 like Derpy says. They play 40.
They're almost done with the season. You're right.
Yeah, I think they're 26 games in.
Yeah.
And so they just, I don't know, they're on break.
That's a very good question. I've never considered that, but now that you say that, it's a very good question.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the Pirates. We might as well end up with the Pirates here. Do they? You say they don't sweep tonight?
I hope they do. I don't think they will.
Right.
Yes.
So do they get blown out tonight? Have no hits? By I think the Houston has a good pitcher going out tonight.
Yeah.
And we have our bullpen crew.
I'll be honest with you, Bryan. I'll say it's consistent with what's happened all season. I mean, there's been times where we lost games. I think the last game we lost to Milwaukee was a 6-0. I think the last game. So I mean, it's going to be consistent with what they've done all year. I don't think you're not. I don't think you're going to get blown out 17-0 like Washington did to Arizona the other night. I think it's going to be consistent with what they've done all season. I think they will lose. I hope they win, but then as you said, they are off tomorrow and then back home for 6 games. So it's getting down to it, Bryan.
Have you been watching the games in Houston?
I don't think I missed a pitch of the Pittsburgh Pirates all season.
Isn't it weird to watch them play in that arena?
Why does the bullpens look like a mechanic's garage?
It is the worst stadium I've ever seen, right? Okay, so I'm sitting there watching. Just the acoustics bother me alone.
Yeah.
Then, left center's just goofy. Didn't they have that hill for a while? Is the hill
hated
gone?
that hill. I'm glad that hill should have been illegal. I mean, who has a hill in the middle of their playing surface in any sport? I mean, that's...
Yeah, and then, you're a center fielder, and they're like, hey, we thanks for coming to Houston. We are starting center fielder. And you're like, yeah, I'm not going to play. You got a freaking hill.
Remember they used to have the train that used to run across the top of the stadium? The Minute Maid train, and it had the oranges or whatever. You don't remember that?
No. The Minute Maid train.
It's been quite some time, yeah.
Oh, God. I thought Milwaukee's indoor garbage was... Why is it indoor? Is it because it's so hot in Houston?
More than likely.
Why is it indoor in Milwaukee?
Maybe because it gets so cold in Milwaukee.
Because they drink the freaking Milwaukee's best? They get all hammered up on 5.5% alcohol or what?
Right. Or that 10% of malt liquor,
All right. Well, this is an interesting show. I believe we're going to be back here next Wednesday. We'll be off the Wednesday after that because I will be tanning and sanding and whatever at the beach. Ryan, anything before we get going here?
You know what? It's in full swing, guys. We have the Hall of Fame game tomorrow. The Bears and the Texans. The starters will not be playing for the Bears. However, it is NFL football. You might want to tune in and check that out. The Pirates, they're in the middle of things. A lot of things going on right now for Pittsburgh sports. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that one of these teams could do something great this year.
All right, that was bad, Ryan. The correct answer was I got nothing. All right, everyone, you've been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll see you back here in 167 hours.
You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio. Don't forget, you can watch the show on WBVP-WMBA Facebook page anytime. Tune in next Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas.